asking my friends Bitcoin, and I said, what is that? And they're like, it's a currency. I was like, well, what can you buy with it? And they told me, drugs and online strippers and mail order brides and stuff. And so I laughed it off and didn't think anything of it because I was like, well, I could get my drugs in the real world, so why do I need to buy crypto to do all that? That just seems, weird. Well, 5 years down the line, I hear, Bitcoin taking off, and I pay attention to it. And last year, hitting 60 grand, it's you start thinking about the mistakes that you made in life and the opportunities that you missed and opportunities that you didn't pay attention to very closely. And stumbling upon Pulsechain, I mean, I'm trying not to get tunnel vision, but I just don't want to miss my opportunity, to make money. Obviously, uh, these are like hopeful, wishful thinkings and stuff. It's going to be hard getting it off the ground. It's going to be hard at launch. A lot of people are going to, invest and try to 10x their money, 100x their money, in the beginning. But, it's always been like that. It's, you look at Ethereum taking off, you look at Hex taking off, a lot of investors just want to get in and out and get on to the next thing and don't really realize what to stick with and don't really realize what to keep their money in, or, feel like it might take off in 3 years, 4 years, be $1,000. They're just chasing pennies now. It's just, I don't know, man. You got to see the opportunities ahead of you, and you got to see opportunities out there in the world. And I mean, not a whole lot of projects and stuff have a Telegram and have a community like this where anybody can speak up and give off facts and help each other out to be super successful. And I mean, this hurricane, is beautiful. You know what I mean? I feel a lot more at ease knowing that there's a lot more guys that have invested in this and, are keeping a good ear to it, keeping a good eye to it. It's not just some dude that's building this thing and there's no community and just trying to get everybody's money and, I mean, look, there's always risk to reward, and this thing right now is in the risky stage. Like, it's what I'm gathering. What I've gathered yesterday is this thing is in the risky stage. You got to kind of hope for the best for the future on this stuff. And when it launches, man, I just want to be ready. That's the thing. That's the thing that I'm taking care of before launch. Is I want to be ready. I want to be ready on the exchange. Uh, I don't want to come across hurdles. So I'm definitely gonna be on the lookout for Pulse and stuff, and I'll definitely be in and out of this Telegram group all day, listening. Cause there's a lot of guys on here, man. Like yesterday, there's a couple different groups, man, of guys that are very informational, and very smart on this, and we all can learn from one another. I feel like, yeah, that's it.
We have a couple people hands up. Crypto Drone, actually just Crypto Drone.
Okay, guys. That's day. I'll be in and out all day today. I gotta get to work, make some money,
Have a good one.
God bless.
You think there's bigger liquidity in the Hex ETH pool than the Hex USDC pool? Anyone?
I guess we can check, right?
Yeah, I'm not sure how to. I mean, I've looked at the charts, but I'm too dumb to figure it out.
Well, you can. It depends where, I guess, but I usually check on Uniswap. Just open up pools top.
I guess maybe TVL would tell you, or
Um, what
so.
your criteria is, I don't know, but I would use either the 24-hour volume. Oh yeah, the TVL is good, and it looks like Hex is larger on both. So
XUSDC is larger.
yeah.
Yeah, that's
Well,
probably
I don't
that's
fully get yet. The TVL is more than double. Yeah, and the last 24-hour volume is about the same, but that can just be coincidental because 24-hour time period isn't really a right indicator, I guess.
yeah, because I've been watching the Dixie chart, and Dixie's kind of looks like it's topped out. I reckon could be the
The
top,
what chart?
and so yeah, the DXY,
Ah,
the
okay.
what do you call it?
Oh, I understood
Yeah, dollar.
Dixie, like.
Yeah, dollar index. I call it Dixie. I don't know what you call it. But yeah, that's not too good. The Hex has thick liquidity in the USD pool. I guess that's probably why the price is tanking right now. I mean, it's better off to have thicker Hex ETH liquidity right now. That's what I was thinking anyway.
Yeah, that could explain
Because
why the volume in 24 hours went up for the ETH pair. Who knows?
yeah, because I'm looking at the ETH chart looks pretty bullish to me. I reckon the bottom's in for ETH. I mean, that didn't even break the range low. You know, like yeah, ETH and BNB as well are looking pretty bullish.
Do Hex and ETH correlate at all? No, not really.
Yeah, I think they do. I think so. I heard someone say that. But
Not
I've noticed,
entirely, but I think one of them is trailing. Hold on, I'm trying to figure out which one. Oh, can't figure it out.
yeah, it's kind of difficult to compare them because ETH's like a lot older.
Yeah, that's probably why I can't figure it out. Just looking at tops and bottoms and stuff and see which one's leading, which one's trailing, but it's not really comparable.
The website HEX Daily Stats has liquidity measured in it too. It seems like there's 3 times more USDC than ETH, according to it.
Where does it say? At the top.
No, the website
Yes, I see.
HEXDailyStats.com.
Yeah, so there's liquidity hex, 273 million, liquidity USDC, 13 million, liquidity ETH, 2K. Very low.
The 2K means 2K ETH. So each ETH is what?
Oh, right, this is ETH to ETH. Okay. I thought it was US dollar ETH. Okay. Makes sense, makes sense.
I think the slaves, according to a HEXradio, only about 20 million hex were sold in the last 4 hours because of whales. So it's either the liquidity is such that it causes another downdraft, or non-whales are selling too. I don't know which. Or is 20 million enough to cause that to go to 8 cents?
Yeah, it could be a bit of both, you know.
Depends. Was it executed at market or?
I don't have the technology to figure that out, but according to HEXradio, about 24 million were sold by whales in the last 4 hours.
And then it was probably market. I mean, liquidating that much over 4 hours, that can dump it, yeah. That will be the second time this week, or this and last week, that somebody market sold quite a large bag.
Now, why would what's the incentive of selling at the price? I guess maybe they got it a lot cheaper when they bought it.
Well, I don't know, man. It's just trying to make sense of it, but can't really. Sure, they are still in profit, probably. That's not the issue. But it's very close to. It's like one of the worst prices you could have sold. And at market, like that doesn't
Right.
make sense. Like just at least do limit orders over time and then nicely scrape off the top so you don't wreck yourself.
Unless they bought in at quite a bit under a penny.
Yeah, I mean that's probably the case anyways. I mean it could be easily OGs. Although I did not look at the actual transaction. Like I guess it's easy to find out and just look at when their stake started and ended, but I didn't go that deep. But likely something else is going on. Like they might need liquidity for something else. Maybe they got wrecked by Luna or otherwise financially affected. They just need cash. I don't know. You can't assume someone's circumstances, but it's still weird to do a market order. Like it must be kind of an emergency. Otherwise, it's just stupid.
Yeah, you're right. The market's taking such a crap that they're probably taking off of something that already has value, and Hex has their value if they had it early. So That would explain
Yep.
a lot if they were invested in other things.
Yep. So Pepe and Accumulator both have their hands up. If anyone's here to stand an arm.
Good morning, Hexicans.
Morning to
And
you.
good morning to
Driving
you.
around the country again, let's see.
Oh, I'm just monetizing my passion.
Your passion's driving?
My passion is to provide cost no object toppings for my patrons so that they can rejoice in knowing that artisanal wood-fired pizza is not expensive. It's priceless.
Ooh, Pete. You are a
That's what I'm
salesman
talking
too.
about.
And yet we have to endure the aggregators that, you know, their driver shows up half an hour late. Folks get a pie that's not hot, it's lukewarm, and then they proceed to go on the review sites and bash our brains in. How would you like having your fate in the hands of an uninterested third party? It's almost like a middleman. Oh, in fact, it is a middleman. Hence my hatred for those bastards.
Hey, it's the difference between you knowing what you're doing and a bunch of other guys who don't. Therefore, they use a middleman. You know, would they be doing better if they didn't use a middleman? I kind of doubt it, but I guess they would be more incentivized to do so. I've worked for a range of middlemen, and I know the kind of customers we had. They would not stay above water without it. So there's that.
Well, I am staunchly philosophically opposed to eating artisanal wood-fired pizza out of a box. You know, you should sit down at a table, enjoy a glass of red wine, put your phones down, have a conversation with those whom you care for, and enjoy life.
Yeah, but then you're telling people how to live their life, which people don't like.
Been doing that my whole life. I ain't stopping now.
Good for you, man.
Like a boss. Like a boss.
Is that drone, the drone meister, drone on?
Sir. Sir, yes, sir. Here in the flesh.
See, you got real problems. Me complaining about, you know, folks that get a pie delivered 45 minutes after it was made. That, you know, is a minor nuisance. You, what you're up against, you know, is real life. So I wish you well,
Whoa.
sir.
Thank you. I do have some good news. The information the government provides to sponsor my dear lady and her mother has went through, and I expect them to be here within 3 to 4 weeks. They should be here.
No more updates. Like El Jefe, you've been punished for providing all these updates. Just give us the word when it happens.
4 weeks. You know, sponsorship's hard, so you know, 4 weeks.
Great sense of humor, Drone. I can't wait to meet your lady.
Thanks, buddy. We're really excited, and we got the news last night about 9 o'clock. So we're making some arrangements, and I'll be buying tickets hopefully within the next 2 to 3 weeks, maybe 4 weeks at the max. I want her. I think they're going to do a couple things there before they come, like some essential stuff. I think they want to do some dental work because dental in America is horrible, and it's fairly affordable in Poland, even more affordable in Ukraine. But she has a crown to get put on, and I said, you know, do it there before you come, because a crown here is about $1,000.
1,400's the last number I paid.
Ooh, that's not good news.
It depends on the work. Anyway, let's get talking about, is the glass half full or is it half empty? What's the tone
Oh,
and tenor
it's
of the
half
community?
full. Hex on sale. Hex on
It
sale.
better.
Hear you. Hear you. Get yours while it's hot.
I was remarking to another Hexagon earlier this morning that I now have to revert to my degen trader former self in order to take advantage of this prolonged downturn. And I lament that fact. However, I have supreme difficulty in sitting on my hands, watching the value of Hex tank over 80% and not take advantage of the volatility. Volatility can either be your friend or your foe. And I am now going to be working that mother like a rented mule.
It's a double-edged sword, that's for sure.
So I whipped out the old limit orders. I bracketed the market price on either side. I'm going to catch the pump or the dump. Doesn't matter to me, but I'm no longer playing victim. I'm much better being proactionary than reactionary.
I agree with you. I was thinking the same exact thing. These prices are too good looking to not jump in.
Well, look, you can sit here and go, oh, woe is me. We're going down to 2 cents or 5 cents or whatever the number is. Or, you know, you can let the market come to you and you take advantage of it. So the long and the short of it is, yeah, you can hold, but it's going to be a while before you're made whole, or you can take advantage of the dump. And there's nothing wrong with that. There's no rule against making
All you need
volatility
to know
correct.
is all you need to know is if you think that is a good price, you should get it. That's pretty much it. You don't need to let any other emotion take over because 80 to 85% is a pretty good sale. It's dipped 85%, I think once before, or maybe twice. Those were good times
Yeah,
to buy.
looking at the chart, it's only done it once, once before.
Although that wasn't really during a bear market, I think. This time
That
it
was
might be
right.
different. So maybe it'll be a bit larger, but you know, I'm not the kind of guy who's gonna wait to stick around and find out. I'm just gonna DCA down, buy a little here, a little bit there.
That was right at the
Especially
start of
because
the.
fees are a bit better now.
Solid strategy, sir.
I nobody should be unhappy about not hitting the exact bottom, and nobody should be trying to time or predict the exact bottom. You're gonna fail. 80-90% of the time you're gonna fail. Just buy at that level, it's all good.
Oh, there's no harm in trying.
Well, I mean, at the expense of just missing it altogether and then having to buy much higher. That's what I mean.
Look, there's no doubt one should employ limit orders at whatever the target number is that you think. And I believe that as you ladder down those limit orders, you're most certainly going to catch the bounce and the pump. So, you know, I would much rather miss the absolute bottom than the pump. So
I have
I'm
5
ensuring
limit
that I
orders.
don't.
Some of them are gonna fill, some of them won't. If one of them or one or two of them will fill, I will be very surprised. I mean, I'm not stupid. I always set some crazy low wick number that I don't believe will happen, but you never know. Sometimes these wicks appear out of nowhere. I'm there to catch you.
Yeah, so I was hoping that Hex was going to keep me from my degen trader former self, but even it has succumbed to the reality of the bear market. And as such, I'll just put on the old trader shoes and play the game for a while until I no longer have to. But I hate it. I hate trading.
I look that's the emotional thing though. Like if you're quite emotional, I can understand why you hate it. But I am as cold as ice sometimes, so it feels really good sometimes because I feel like a hero. I'm standing down there like a fireman, catching all the noobs falling out of the skies. Because I don't believe in myself when I set these orders sometimes, but I did it with ETH once. At the bottom, I think 400 something. It just there's these crazy wicks, capitulation wicks. They can go real deep, and all you gotta do is set a small order down there, get the cheapest price in over 5 years. Might not happen, but what's the risk? It won't fill. Fuck it.
Yeah, ETH dipped to like 10 cents, didn't it, from like $300?
No, that was before my time. I think I caught somewhere at 400. I don't remember when it was. 2018 maybe. I have to check. I mean, these things don't happen often, but when they do, does it feel good? Does anyone remember Eric Wall? The interview with Richard. I think he was at some conference way back 2 years ago, maybe.
Yeah, I
Mr.
watched that.
Mr. Luna is superior to Hex. Yeah, I remember that
No,
silly bastard.
yeah, that guy, he did not say Luna is superior. He said he was shitting on Hex, right? He said it's the dumbest thing he ever heard way back then. And he was saying that even Luna is better than Hex, sort of sarcastically. He was misunderstood, but still a shitty statement to make. Well, now 9 hours ago, he's opened up in a whole thread talking smack about Pulsechain. So I would like Richard to take him up again on another stream, have a nice debate with him. It will be something refreshing.
Yeah, that would be a good debate.
I think they should begin by putting their PPs on the table and
Yes.
going from there.
Just put a Red Bull on the left, PP in the middle. We'll find something for the right.
I remember that interview. He was very passive aggressive about Hex. He talked a lot of shit about Hex a long time ago.
Well, you have to remember context though. Like they just met at a conference. Eric Wall never heard of him or Hex, so it was a bit like out of the air. So he's like, "Okay, explain the whole thing to me," and then he instantly went like, "That's the stupidest thing I ever heard." Granted, the guy does know his stuff about blockchain, so he actually comes from the tech side. So I wouldn't dismiss everything he says, but making assumptions about how something will do based on your technical knowledge is not everything, right? You can point out flaws in tech, but you may not be equipped to point out flaws in your economic thinking, for example. So one of his arguments about Pulsechain is that it's basically cobbled together copy pasta of Ethereum and BSC, which is not wrong. It's basically a copy of both with some parameters changed. But those parameters do matter. Just because it's not super complicated tech doesn't mean it's just not going to do anything.
But who cares what Eric Bill thinks? He's not a member of
No,
this
I
community. He'll never buy it.
yeah,
He
but with
has a
that thinking,
superficial
look, Pepe, with
understanding
that
at best.
thinking, with that
No,
tribal thinking, we
no,
will not grow. We will not grow
it's
with that
not
kind of
tribal.
tribal thinking.
What,
We need to
what would
bring
you
people
assume
from
he
the outside
put?
in and
Guys,
and debate
Hold
them
on,
like
you're
normal
talking over
human
me,
beings.
sir.
one at a time,
Wasn't
please.
it?
Go ahead and finish your point, and then I'll make mine.
Right. So we need to have sensible debates. I think, what are we scared of? Somebody telling us it's all going to zero? No. You need to be able to have a debate where either people come to an agreement or agree to disagree. And I think that's the thing that's healthy, especially because you reach people outside of your community. I'm not interested in talking to people within this community. It's an echo chamber. You want people from outside the community to enlarge in it. Go ahead.
I understand your logic, and at a certain level, I concur. However, it appears to me that if someone hasn't put in the time, energy, and effort to perform proper due diligence, then why should I listen to them at all? It's clear
Well,
that
he
Mr.
has.
Wall,
So
no, he hasn't. He has done superficial understanding. Oftentimes, you cannot judge a book by its cover, which is what he has done. And so all I'm
have you
saying is,
checked the thread from 10 hours ago? Because it's very long and detailed. So that's what makes me change my mind about him, that he should debate Richard for like a solid hour or two. What's wrong with that?
well, there's nothing wrong with that. However, his conclusions are based on a true lack of total understanding of the project, taken into complete context what's going on. That's all I'm saying. I'm saying he can't possibly have enough knowledge about a product that he's barely understood, and therefore we shouldn't necessarily give extra gravitas to that individual. That's all.
Well, that never mattered before. I mean, it's you're basically speaking of the imaginable horribles that don't exist. I mean, he's addressed multiple haters in the past. Some of them are well versed, some of them were definitely not. Didn't matter. Did not matter at all. Why would it matter suddenly now? I
Well,
would much rather have somebody slightly more intelligent and equipped to actually deal with the facts that Richard is throwing than just some naysayer who doesn't know what the fuck they're talking about, or somebody who just simply agrees with you because they don't.
well,
I
I'll
thought he,
prefer to perform my own diligence rather than listen to a guy that, while he may know blockchains really well, it doesn't mean he understands what will likely be the largest event in the history of finance, and that is
Well,
the launch of Pulsechain.
yeah, and I don't think he even debates that part. He literally says that there will be a MEV supernova event. So I would like to hear both sides of the coin.
I thought he was very smart, but he was wrong. I mean, did he even mention the airdrop or how low the fees would be?
I think it will make for great entertainment, and on top of that, there is an opposed following with every opposer that you have, right? You have a, I don't know what his following is, but I imagine it's somewhat large. It's great. It's such a great opportunity to have an opposing view on your show along with their followers. Like, there's almost no
All right.
downside.
All right. Well, then, if that's how you truly feel, uh, provide him with a body bag because he will need it.
Yeah, I mean, look, they've had an interview before. Why not again? What's speaking against it? What are we afraid of exactly?
What on the contrary, we're not afraid of anything. What we're suggesting here is, especially with those new to the community, don't place your faith in someone like an Eric Wall just because he speaks well and he has a understanding of the blockchain. Perform your own diligence, do your own research, and if and when he decides to go up against Richard Hart, he will be eviscerated.
Well, it's sort of selective. I'm playing devil's advocate here, by the way. It's sort of selective thinking because, you know, plenty of people do that exact thing you just mentioned, just with Richard Hart. Right? Just because he talks well and knows a thing or two about blockchain, don't put your faith in him. Well, plenty of people here literally do so. Not blaming them, just saying you can't apply the same logic to one thing but not to another.
Yeah, and so it comes down to this for me. Since we're no longer going to be getting any updates on the launch of Pulsechain per El Jefe, it could be an entertaining discussion, but bring a body bag.
Yeah, for sure. I love body bags. There will always be a trail of body bags behind Richard, but you know, it's easy to do when the target is very small. Actually, that doesn't make sense, that analogy, but you know, if it's a big target, then it's easy to do. If it's somebody who knows a thing or two and can challenge you a bit, I think it's a lot more interesting.
I think he was biased against Hex, but using his intelligence to sort of mask it. It's like it's very strange interview that I remember.
Well, the thing with this guy is he has one problem, right? He comes from academia, which is not a problem in of itself, but I know a lot of people in academia who like to flex using degrees. There's other people who like to flex with money or, you know, achievements, whatever. Everyone likes to flex in different ways. But when you flex with degrees, that's your end of the line. Like until you've actually achieved something, you created something, and you've proven your theoretical knowledge to be applicable in reality, that's all you got. That's your last stop. And he tends to do that.
Yeah,
He's intelligent, but intelligence is theoretical. Intelligence is not applied automatically in the real world. You need to combine the two.
I think if you wanted to have an academic discussion, perhaps an Eric Weinstein would be a more appropriate choice. Not a guy who has proclaimed all the imaginary horribles associated with what will likely be the largest event in the history of finance.
These tech guys, they don't understand memes. Like memes are more powerful than the tech.
Well, they can know a thing or two about tech and how secure and how stable it will be. That may be the case, but they will. I'm not saying will, but are often wrong about what the market will do. This is not something they understood unless they are an economist, which a lot of them aren't.
But what economist would say that Doge and Shiba Inu are good investments? No one would say that, and yet they've been in the top 10. Huh?
Look, all we need to know about
not anymore.
Mr. Wall is he wrote the following post: Luna greater than symbol HEX. I'm sorry, I don't need to go any further with a guy who would take his Twitter feed and pollute it with such toxicity. Whether he was being sarcastic or not.
He was. He literally explained himself. I mean, you have to look past the headlines, right? I mean, if you're really that guy who reads an article by just reading the title and then getting outraged and saying, I'm never going to touch this paper again, that's not helpful to anybody, right? Things are nuanced. And that's why I want a proper discussion and a proper debate, not just these snippets of bullshit thrown at each other.
Yeah, but what what you're the dude you're putting up there, your advocate, so to speak, right? Because you want to hear the other side. The guy you're putting up there is playing a weak hand, right? RH would enter that debate with a royal flush. And so
Yeah.
I sit there and say, well, I already know the outcome. Why am I going to waste my time on that? I mean, really, he's going to enlighten me somehow when a guy's already come to the improper conclusion? No, I don't think so.
Toby, I agree with you.
Okay, let's find an alternative. Who do you think has a less likely outcome to leave in a body bag?
It's not a matter of leaving in a body bag. When someone is playing a weak hand versus a royal flush, I already know the outcome. I don't want to hear it. I want to hear thought-provoking questions so that Richard could illuminate all of us with some of his deeper thinking. If that could be flushed out, then wonderful. But a guy who has already proclaimed how it's all going to be in the end, he's got his end in mind, and everything's going to be tainted. And I don't enjoy that.
One person that's how most debates start. They start out by one person seeming like they're already set in their ways and whatever, blah blah blah, making grand statements, and then you have a debate, and then you get the record straight. Like Richard Hart's debates were 70% of them are like that. So what are you saying? They were all garbage. You didn't want to watch them, so therefore we shouldn't be watching any of the other ones. That doesn't make sense to me.
Well, most of the debates that Richard has been in, the hero on the other side turned out to be an 80-pound beacon, and I got very little out of it. I do enjoy vast intelligence coming to the forefront and engaging in true discussion, holding up an idea, doing a 360-degree turn, and then moving on to the next point. That altcoin daily hero from Bitcoin, it was disgusting. Oh, price doesn't matter to me. Oh, yield doesn't matter to me. Nothing matters to me other than holding on to Bitcoin. Oh, okay.
Yes, and that is perfect because it shows their hypocrisy, or it shows that it's so ridiculous. And you get all the people, trust me, even on their side, converted, or at least thinking twice of sticking with that guy. That's what I like about the Richard Hart debates or interviews, because they bring out how stupid the argument from the other side often is.
But it doesn't have to be an argument. It doesn't have to be confrontational to be enjoyable and enlightening. I guess that's my point. When someone starts from an improper position, a losing hand, then I already know the outcome, and it doesn't matter. But I agree with you. It would be mildly entertaining, perhaps a lot more entertaining for you than for me. I would want to see a much higher level of intelligence, one that opened up neutral, much more along the lines of Switzerland, rather than the antagonist. That's all.
Oh, feel free to bring some better recommendations. I would like to have Eric Wall on debated and leaving in the body bag. Thank you very much.
Gotta go.
Recently, there was this anarchist Austrian economist, Lex Friedman. I forget his name, Safood Said, something like that. He's all into Bitcoin. He's all about free speech. I think he'd be he'd have a great conversation with Richard Hart.
That is the one guy I've heard Richard ever say knows more about him than something in his interview. I'd be curious to hear, Eric Wall claims that he made some suggestions. I don't know the technical stuff about it, but that Richard and the devs had used some of his suggestions. I'd be curious to hear what he has to say. I mean, Richard does not engage with him. It's very, very odd. One of the only people I see him not engage with.
I know. And I'm aware of that. That's why I want him to take him on, because he's always saying, "Oh, where are the haters? Where are the haters? I invite them and they don't come on." Like, well, you have some that you're not inviting or something. Like, just face the music if you really are facing it. I mean, it's very possible that he did invite him and he declined. I don't know. I'm not throwing that as an accusation, but seems like that guy is open because he's constantly talking about Hex and Pulsechain. Like secretly, I think he might have a bag and he's just trying to FUD, but who the fuck knows?
Does Eric Wall have a lot of followers?
Yeah, decent. Let me double check.
I mean, that's his niche,
Yeah.
is bagging on everything. So, I mean, you're never going to hear him say positive things.
Yeah, I guess I'm a sucker for debates. Like I don't really have any interest in echo chamber so-called debates where people just agree with each other all the time. I do enjoy a lot the debates where there's disagreements. I don't know why. I guess it's a thing I got. But I don't think I'm alone, so
Yeah, agreeable conversations are boring.
Yeah, you just don't want something like a Peter McCormick, though. That's a little too far the other way.
yeah, that was giving me cancer, but you know, it if that didn't show the world the true face, then I don't know what will, right?
Who's that other guy you were talking about? You want Richard Hart to debate?
Eric Wall.
No, you said there was somebody else.
I didn't. Somebody else did. Maybe Lex Friedman.
No, he's just a interviewer, isn't he?
Yeah, but I wasn't saying any names other than that, so I don't know who dropped any.
I mentioned an Austrian economist who's all into Bitcoin. His name is Safaid Ammous. He was recently on Lex Friedman, but he seems to understand crypto very well and economics and the history of economics and where economics might be heading from, and anarcho-capitalist libertarian perspective. So yeah, I think it'd be a great conversation.
Is he on Twitter or something? That name sounded a bit difficult to write.
Yeah, I'll post it on the general chat if I find it.
Nice.
Toby, what did you think of Eric Wall's thread that he wrote? Is there anything that stuck out to you after reading that, or anything that you'd like to hear debated specifically?
Yeah, the MEV supernova thing that he keeps bringing up. I read a bit into maximal extractable value. Can barely pronounce it. But I'm trying to understand what he means by supernova, like sort of like a crunch or something. I don't even know what he means. So I would like to hear that, and then you know what that even means, what he means by it, like defining it, and then maybe hearing Richard's response to it.
You know, Richard's always been open about the fact, and one of the things he pointed in that thread was, oh, people think they're going to get these copies of these coins, and there's no DApps on the other side of Pulsechain. It's going to break. I mean, he's told us that if people have to come build for those coins to be successful on Pulsechain. I mean, it has to have adoption. So, I mean, I understand where he's coming from that angle. And, you know, people going, oh, I'm going to have all this free USDC coins and all this stuff on the other side. It's free money. And I see that part. I'm just curious of the other things, because Richard's been very open and honest with us about those things.
Yeah, whoever was asking, I posted the link of that interview in the main chat.
Yeah, I got it. Thanks.
That guy looks familiar. I hate when I recognize somebody, but I don't know where from. I've definitely seen this dude before. Ah, the Bitcoin standard. Wow. Well, yeah, that makes sense.
That'd be a good
Wait, is he
conversation.
just invested?
Is he a Bitcoin maxi? Is he?
I'm asking. I don't know. It looks like because he's got a
He
150
he gives
gas.
hints of being kind of a maxi, but that'd be a good back and forth with Richard Hart as to why altcoins are not shitcoins.
But he only has 17,000 subscribers, which is fine, I guess.
I mean, if he's into free markets, I don't see how he can be a Bitcoin maxi.
Yeah, I don't think he's ever declared himself a maxi, but he does say certain things that hint that he only believes in Bitcoin for now.
I mean, he basically. I mean, I only did a little research now, but it looks like he's taking the opposite stance of the gold standard. That's why he chose the Bitcoin standard as his title for his podcast. I don't know. I mean, it sounds a bit maxi to me. But it's good. I mean, it's always great to have Bitcoin maxis versus Richard Hart. So there's not that many willing to talk to him.
It would just be an intellectual talk. That's somebody had mentioned that they wanted a more intellectual talk, and that there'd be
Yeah,
no greater talk than that one right there.
we agree.
That
So,
term
talking.
standard seems to be a contradiction to like a free market.
I think that's the
A
point.
free market with gold standard, right?
Yeah, but that's a contradiction because you say gold standard. That means like you only use gold for money. I mean, a free market is you choose whatever currency you want to use.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, it's basically ignoring hundreds of years of history and saying those were never free markets, even though there were several during the gold standard.
I mean, not if it was if you're using a government currency. You can't call a government currency a free market because you're kind of forced to use that currency, aren't you? So there's nothing free about that.
Yeah, sure. You're forced to do a lot of things nowadays if you want to participate in crypto, even Bitcoin or DeFi for that matter.
Well, I just see crypto as privatized money.
Yes, but everything rests on something, right? And gold just rested on the ability to extract it, which used to be very, very centralized. and then over time became less centralized, but still enough to be an issue. And we're in a similar situation with crypto at the moment.
So, what does crypto rest on then? Because I don't believe anything does have to
Infrastructure.
rest on something. It's just what?
Internet access, you know, running nodes, having the ability to run it, being able to access, even if you don't have a node, being able to access the internet and everything around it to get your crypto and access to it. Those things are provided by people. Do you think that it's
Yeah,
extremely
but
decentralized comparing to back in the gold rush days? I don't see a difference in terms of percentage. Not to mention that only the people with the actual ability, access, funds, etc., can do this. So we're in a very similar situation to way back when gold was first extracted. Tell me the difference and I'll fucking bow down.
yeah, I don't see it different to gold really. It's like digital gold, but like with the gold standard, you were kind of forced to use that money that was backed by gold. There was no competition. It was just if you're in one country, you use that currency. There was no competition in the currencies. I mean, this is the first time ever we've had competition in countries inside. I mean, you have foreign currencies, but this is the first time we've had like privately created currencies.
Yeah, I guess you have currency in the sense of like you back then had or didn't have really competition between gold and other metals. It came over time, right? Silver became a lot more valuable. So that would be a comparable competition, just that silver wasn't adopted as a standard. But then again, today's currencies aren't backed by gold or silver.
Yeah, they're backed by belief, aren't they?
Yep. Well, backed by force, but yes.
Yeah, the government currencies are backed by force, and the cryptocurrencies are backed by belief, I guess.
Yeah, and a percentage of control. I mean, there is some part of centralization. It's just a matter of how much centralization are you willing to accept. And I think everyone has, that's what I'm figuring out now, is everyone has a bit of a different view or tolerance level to how much centralization they're willing to accept. Clearly, in the Bitcoin meme narrative, whatever you want to call it, there's people who are perfectly fine with some level of centralization, but not fine with basically an equal or worse level of centralization, a better level of centralization in other assets. Which doesn't make a lot of sense to me, but still speaks to how they think.
Yeah, but you get to choose which one you want. You know, like in the fiat system, you don't have a choice. That you're forced. That currency is forced upon you.
I
But
can certainly I can make a point. I can certainly appreciate that many people think crypto is money or currency. But the reality is that it's neither today. We use it as a speculative instrument, and it does a very good job as such. But all crypto is denominated in terms and units of the U.S. dollar, and the U.S. dollar in that case is what we as a community believe is the money, and crypto is just some other form of a commodity on top of it.
I would disagree with that.
I would agree
I
with
mean, it
that.
never used to be, crypto never used to be denominated in dollars. It used to be denominated in Bitcoin.
Yeah, but that's
And why is it not anymore?
do
I
you
think you
think
know the
that
answer.
is do you think that is the popular attitude towards the majority of crypto people, other than you and I, who are ideologues?
Yeah, I
Doesn't matter what the
mean,
majority thinks.
fiat currencies are still the most popular currencies. That's a fact.
I agree. My point is that crypto is not money or currency.
But I disagree. I think it is. It's just not as popular as fiat currencies.
Well, okay, we're gonna go into the whole weeds of mediums of exchange again, but it's just not there. It's not ready. Like we've had several coins now over the last 5 to 10 years that have attempted it, has failed for numerous reasons. Not it was never just one.
What do you mean? It's
There was
what
plenty.
isn't
No, there
there?
was plenty of. Well, with Bitcoin, it just didn't work because you would have to wait hours, and it doesn't make sense. With
That's
Ethereum, it's
not
just
true
not
though.
fucking possible. No, it's with Ethereum, it's just not
No,
possible at the
it's
moment.
not true. It did work. Microsoft used to accept Bitcoin as a payment in 2014. It did work.
As a
The
novelty.
Bitcoin core team stopped it from working. That's why Bitcoin Cash forked,
Yeah, but
and
Yes,
Bitcoin Cash works
now they're using Bitcoin
fine for
Cash.
payment.
the point is that it's not growing. The whole concept of money is, like you said, in a competitive environment, things are used as money all the time. But it's the best form of money will always rise in a free and
Yes, that's my point.
free and open. Now, the point is today we don't have a free and open market, which is correct. We have to use fiat currency. But but the point is that if we have something that's going to compete with fiat currency, which we do have, and I agree with that, until we use it as such, it'll never rise to the top. You give some isolated examples of how it can be used as money. Of course, that's always the case. People can use anything as money. That doesn't mean it's going to have the extreme success of overthrowing
Well,
fiat.
we're just in the beginning though. It doesn't have extreme success, but it has started. People are using it out there. You can look at the map,
Right. So aside from the
map.bitcoin.com.
isolated cases where it's being used, and honestly, it isn't being used even to a percentage that we can call close to adoption. So let's just be real
Yeah,
with that.
we're in the
It
beginning.
really is not. So we're before the beginning,
Yeah,
but I also think that we're
it
not,
doesn't
from a
matter.
technical standpoint, we're not there yet because
Not
it
true,
needs to be
because
available
I use
for
it myself.
every kind of transaction, not just for buying a house,
Yeah,
not
it's
just for buying a
it's
car,
not true.
not even it
It
needs
is.
to be available for buying the smallest thing that you can buy on the
Yes.
market. If you can't do that,
Yeah.
then it won't work.
Yes, you
And
can.
we're currently not
I
there.
use it. I use it. It is there. I use it myself.
You use what for what?
It's not true what you're saying.
Give your specific
I,
example.
I, I buy a cup. I buy a cup of coffee with crypto.
Yeah, I don't care what you use it for, especially for a cup of coffee. But the point is that the majority of people are not. You do not
Yeah,
represent
because
them.
we're in the beginning. That's why.
No,
When you
the
say,
the
hold
fact
on,
of the
hold on,
if
hold
he's
on.
if you're able to buy a cup of coffee and not lose out and not have to wait, I think then we're good, right? We're there. So what can you give examples, or are you gonna give away like some third party stuff now?
Yeah. Well, I mean, yeah, you're not supposed to talk about, but I mean, Bitcoin Cash is pretty. They've been working on this for a long time, and it does work. It's just not very popular.
I think the majority of the trend, like if you say we're early, okay, maybe, but I'm more interested in not saying whether we're early or we're there or we've achieved, because we haven't achieved it. If your argument is we're early, then I would like to extend that argument to say, do you think the trend is You think the trend is upwards, that the majority of people that are in crypto, the majority of people in this room are interested in using crypto as forms of money. And
Well,
my
you're fighting against a big propaganda campaign, aren't you? Because, you know, like the mainstream media are not going to say, hey, dump fiat, start using crypto, you know, it's not going to happen. So it's going to be,
Yeah, well,
you know,
we're not
you're fighting against,
sorry, we're not talking about the media. We're talking about the will of people in crypto.
yeah, I don't speak to many people that use crypto. It's not very popular, but, you know.
Hey, can I add to this here? I just heard you guys kind of saying, or well, one of you said, and I'm not picking a fight or anything. Just to say it myself. People aren't necessarily going to try to use crypto for money. It's an investment tool. Hi, can I get a medium coffee with 1 milk, please?
Medium 1 milk?
Yeah.
You paying with crypto right now?
Yeah. So crypto being on a situation where you want to spend it, that's just not really accurate. I don't think that's very true.
I mean, it is true because I do it, so it is true.
Okay, but thank you. So my point more is like, yeah, you can spend it like cash, but I don't think it's necessarily true that most of the people in this room are the people that are trying to use Bitcoin or cryptocurrency as a form of cash. Like, I would like to just even offer just a different perspective where it's like, crypto isn't about it becoming the next fiat cash replacement. Crypto's an investment class. It's an asset class to itself, you know, like you don't necessarily need to get into crypto just because you believe in it turning into cash. Like you want it to create value that you can transition into fiat, pay your taxes, and be in the best asset class in the planet. You know, this is just the perspective that I've come to see for myself, and I just heard someone saying there that like people in this room are necessarily believe that crypto is the next cash or should be used to be cash. Like I think people once they understand investing more, like they did with the start of the pandemic and how everybody went to stocks. And starting to figure out markets and getting money to work for them because they're at home. You know, crypto is just an asset class. And the sooner people realize that and get into that asset class, they can start to see that potential 1,000x upwards to 10,000, 15,000x, you know?
To whoever is talking, I can't see your name, but what separates crypto as an asset class from other asset classes?
What do you mean? I don't really know what you mean by that.
Like, how do you classify? How do you classify crypto? Like, what makes it unique compared to other asset classes?
What makes it? Sorry, what was the last part there?
How would you class, like you let's say you get some asset thrown in front of you you've never heard of. How would you classify it as crypto versus any other asset class?
Okay, so if someone threw a house at me, I'd call that a real estate asset. If someone said, hey, I have this stock in Bank of Montreal, here you go, I would say, oh, that's a stock asset. If someone said to me, hey, you have an NFT, I would say, oh, that's
Okay,
digital
but that's
asset.
just based on wording that we assigned. How would you find out? Like, the house is easy. You walk in it, you sleep in it, you figure out it's a house. With a stock, you go find out the registered company and the distributed shares and all this stuff. Right, it's a stock. How would you do it with crypto?
Well, I would say, let's take a look on the blockchain and let's take a look at the contract information.
All right. There we go. So we got it nailed down. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like that That's the
Right.
provable
So why does
documentation to the government.
blockchain matter? Why is blockchain its own asset class, so to speak?
Oh, well, these are databases. These are actual
Do they
verifiable.
bring value?
Do they bring value?
Is there a
I,
value proposition there, or is it just number go up, so therefore I'm going to put more money into it than stocks or any other asset class?
there's a higher form of security. I would say that there's absolute control over your own asset. So those are value to some people. If you're putting value only on dollars, that's one thing. But there's other factors to this asset class, such as storage. Where else can you store $1 million in a 1-inch device? Or in a 1-inch space even. A home? No. Stocks? No. Like cash? No. Digital asset? There you go. Yes, you can. So there's one way it provides a massive amount of value. The price that you pay to transact in one transaction isn't even close to what you probably pay on a single real estate transaction. You see where I'm going? So there is value in the blockchain. There is value in the network. Is that fair?
Yep, that's fair. That's what I wanted to hear.
Great question. I don't. I'm just thinking of this stuff off the top of my head. I'm just spitting out things that I've thought of, but I don't talk about it. It's like this. So,
No, it makes sense. So I wanted to point out that it's not just an asset class to invest in. Sure, that's what it tends to be, and that's where the high X's come from versus other assets like stocks maybe. But there is underlying stuff that does need to be developed on, and one of them could be mediums of exchange. I don't think we're there yet. And to the one guy using it, I'm sorry to you. I feel like you're one of the few, and if you think it has potential to be adopted worldwide and stuff, by all means pitch it, because I am not convinced, because everything that I've used so far, if I wanted to use it as a microtransaction, it's not feasible. Sure, if I buy a house, which is a one-time in the life event, which I might as well just pay in cash or whatever, sure, for that I agree. But for the everyday average Joe transaction between each other, and like from a practical point of view, stores adopting it, you adopting it as salary, and all these kind of things, I think we're still far away from that, like to have it practically feasible.
It's not true, dude. Just take a look at St. Kitts, and then you'll see.
Say what?
I would
take a look at St. Kitts Island, and you will see people using crypto there.
Those words, thin kids.
St. Kitts Island. Just check it out. There's people using crypto there.
Yeah, Toby, I still agree with you. I'd have to say on this one, like I can appreciate there's some adoption. We're talking 5 to 7% global adoption.
What?
That's nothing.
No, Toby, man. That's not even the percentage of people holding any crypto assets whatsoever.
Toby, can I ask you a question?
Yes.
Yeah, along the same lines of what we're just discussing. Right now, I believe that crypto is veered off its original design purpose to be used as money, and that most people use it as a speculative instrument today. Do you think it's important that we as a community going forward eventually head back towards the original goal and dream of being money, or do you think it's satisfactory to keep going as a speculative instrument?
I personally think it's important that we go in the direction of including money as the use case, but I don't think everyone else agrees. That's one of the issues.
I would agree with that as well. I mean, I think that the key thing is, like, yes, you can definitely find a few limited jurisdictions where crypto is used as currency, but for the most of the world, it is not. It's taxed as property, and until it's not taxed as property, it's just not a currency. I mean, depending on your locality, like I'm going to assume that you aren't, beholden to the IRS. But if you are beholden to the IRS and you're using your crypto to buy cups of coffee, I can almost guarantee you're not paying your taxes correctly.
Plus, how can you buy a cup of coffee when it costs you more to send the money to make the payment?
Well, obviously
yeah.
you're not going to do it on the Ethereum network.
Okay, IRS has been very clear that crypto is not money because you can't tax money. They've been also very clear that it's a commodity. So that's very clear.
I mean, this is just what some stupid government says. I don't really see the relevance.
I agree. I'm not saying I agree with them. I'm just saying don't expect the government to allow you to use it as money.
But they already are allowing it. I mean, just take a look at the. You go to map.bitcoin.com and you can see all the places that accept crypto for money or whatever you want to call it.
I'm not debating the possibility of it being used as money. As a matter of fact, I am trying to steer the conversation towards that very fact that crypto is the perfect form of money because it's specifically designed to be. It satisfies all the definitions of what money needs to be money. My point is that people aren't using it. And if you give me isolated examples, that just furthers our point together. But it's not there yet. People don't have a will to use it as money. If you were to take a survey of people
Sorry, you're saying this, but it's kind of not true because people are using it as money. I mean, I know it's not popular, but it is being used.
So
Look, man,
So
unless we look.
when you make
I'm gonna shut this down real quick. So unless we have the data in front of us, really backing up all these claims, I don't think we need to continue.
Well,
Because
okay,
my data,
just
my assumption is that it's not being used nearly as much as you claim to be. You might have a bias
take
view
a look at the
yourself
map.
because you are in Bitcoin Cash and you are using it a lot, and maybe you hang out with others who do. But where I am, nobody's using it. Never mind that there's even maybe 95% of people who don't even own crypto, but within the 5%, nobody is using it as cash. So maybe it is
Yes.
indeed very isolated to your
Yes.
jurisdiction and your particular little world you live in.
Well, all right. I get it, but just take a look at the map and you will see what I'm talking
Yeah,
about.
theoretically,
I mean,
I can theoretically accept Bitcoin Cash today, right? I can add it to my business, no problem. But how much usage is there? Do you know what are the transactions to these stores? Can you follow them? Is it actually transactions or is it just what is the actual data? I can create
well,
an app
you
now
have
that says there's Bitcoin ATMs in every city in the world. What does that mean? Nothing.
Well, you have to look at the map. The map shows you real businesses
Yeah, but
accepting it. So
I just said what that could mean. It means that there are physical locations that theoretically accept Bitcoin Cash. How much is it being used? You do not know because that's not the kind of data that's there on the map.
the trend is that it's going less. There's less people and less ATMs and less people using
That's my
crypto
point because I remember a time where
than it
there
was
were
4 years ago.
Bitcoin ATMs being used, and there were businesses actually accepting it. I specifically remember times in my location, and again, I'm limited to that, of course, where there was this middleman company that delivers foods was accepting Bitcoin. And I once, for fun, used it as payment. It was a horrible experience, so that's probably why it doesn't exist anymore. They don't accept it anymore. Too much hassle. Nobody used it. Was way too fucking slow. Maybe Bitcoin Cash is better. I don't know, but nobody fucking uses it.
yeah,
So maybe they just need to do
yeah.
better marketing. Maybe that's the only thing standing in between the great crypto adoption as payment.
If the
Is that
argument
the issue?
If the argument is that we're early, then the stronger argument would be that we're on the uptrend of people using it. In other words, every year more and more people are using it. That is not the fact. The fact is that we are early or late, whatever, but the trend is that we're going down. People are using it less and less. The fact that people use it, that's not the argument.
Yeah, but it's
Yeah,
also
I
the
would agree with that.
nature of the cryptocurrency. I mean, why would I spend something that's probably going to go up in X's? I'd rather use my fiat than something that might 10x or something.
That's totally fair. I think the whole point of the question or the poll was, or at least I was asking Toby, do you think crypto should eventually be money for it to be successful? Maybe that's not the right way to say it. Is it more important that crypto go back on its original design and dream of being money as opposed to be a speculative instrument? And you've just reiterated the fact that most people don't really care. They're happy with it being a speculative instrument and getting rich in fiat. And I don't blame people for wanting that. I'm saying 98% of people in crypto today, that is their goal, that is their mandate, and that's okay too.
Goose,
I think we're
how
all
would
biased
you
around it.
moderate Goose? How would you moderate the volatility in this asset class if it were a currency? Because right now the swings are way too wild, both downside and upside.
You probably can't. That's the thing.
Well,
So I remember a time in my country where there was huge inflation. People still use this money to buy things. It made life very difficult because in the morning you would buy bread for like whatever 20,000 something, and then in the evening it was 50,000 something, right? So it's difficult to manage. People will maybe still do it, but I don't think it's the ideal situation, and it certainly isn't a better solution or use case than using fiat.
Yeah, there's two components of that, and I'm glad that I'd be interested to talk to Toby some more about his real life experience in a country that went through currency crisis. It's very important to have an opportunity to speak to people like that. But to answer Pepe's question, right now, if we use it as a speculative instrument, you'll never totally reduce the volatility because that's what we want. Volatility is our opportunity. But when you change that from an asset class or a commodity and use it as money, you can restrict the volatility by the sheer um, introductions of how you treat inflation in a system. So the one way is when you have money, let's say gold, if gold is money, then its inflation is the real rate at which it comes out of the ground every year. And for decades, if not hundreds of years, it's come out at an average rate of 2 to 3% per year. So it's no mistake that that's why the world has adopted the natural inflation of 2 to 3%. That's not a magic number. That has to do with the direct inflation rate at which gold comes out of the ground. So the idea of regulating crypto to reduce the volatility will never happen if it's an asset class where we invest in. But if it becomes money one day, then like Hex would be a perfect form because we already know the inflation. And
Yeah, and so as I see the landscape, I can I can honestly say that crypto is not money. However, it is used as money. For instance, I put it on my income statement in my business. I put it on my balance sheet in my business. It is the reserve treasury asset. And so I'm okay with where it's at. Taxed as property. I really don't want to have to calculate cost basis, market price at the time of buying a cup of coffee, all that. So I agree, unless the tax code changes, it will never be money or currency.
So you don't share the dream of the people around the table on those first days
Yeah.
of Bitcoin.
I'll tell you what my dream is. My dream is, as these third world countries, Panama, et cetera, all make it their currency in addition to the US dollar. I think there's a slight opportunity that via international law, the United States would have to recognize Bitcoin and others as a currency because under international law, that is in fact the truth. And so that battle is coming one day. And I look forward to seeing the arm wrestling match.
Well, 40 central bankers met in El Salvador just a few weeks ago to talk about exactly that, mostly from quite small developing countries.
I thought they were meeting today. I thought they were meeting from May 22nd to May 26th.
May 16th to 19th, I heard, but yeah, maybe they meet again, who knows. It doesn't seem like much, but I think it's whatever comes out of that would be pretty significant for them anyways.
Are you guys concerned about CBDC, central bank digital currency?
I am.
Those will happen in certain places, yeah.
I was going to ask you about that, and whether you even consider those cryptos.
Well, if they use that's why I asked the guy earlier as a brain teaser, how do you classify crypto if you were thrown it on your table and you didn't have a name attached to it? Well, you would go check, is it running on a blockchain? Is it, does it have nodes running, distributed ledger technology, blah, blah, blah. So if they are using that, then I guess you can classify it as that. Does it satisfy your philosophical idea about what it should be? Probably not. I think there should be some laws around that, but that's the irony with it. The laws have to come from somewhere, and those are not going to be from those people. But there should be a unwritten law or some kind of law that says that the supply cannot be controlled by a centralized entity.
So to answer the question, yes, it will be a crypto that is released to CBDC. The difference, it will be centralized. And as the gentleman has just said, as his last point, is they will control it and they will force you to use it. So that's the crux of what we're talking about.
And the private blockchain and the public blockchain, can they merge, or is it impossible? Or they won't even allow it anyways? Because people are still gonna, will be controlled currency, obviously, if it's a private one,
Why do they
CBDC.
care?
Doesn't matter.
Well, I think then, to your discussion you guys just talk about, I think then there's space for cryptocurrency to actually have it as a medium for like products and services that people are gonna adapt to it eventually. If they roll out CBDC. I think then there's more pressure on it, not now though.
Yes, but then they control the supply, which is no different from how it works now. What is the actual difference? It's slightly more convenient to use. Is that the thing that we're here for?
It will be terrible because like what they're gonna do most likely is like that they're gonna give us like a universal income and they're gonna tell us, hey man, like you get like $1,000 a week or whatsoever, and after that period of time of 7 days, it's gonna be expired, and you can just use it for certain products and services or whatsoever, plus social credit score, what you see already in China, Eventually, if it's like complete like digital totalism, what could occur in the next 10 to 20 years from here?
Which is why the way to classify it should be, but of course isn't, is to figure out who controls the supply. It's pretty easy to me. You can point at a single person or organization, then there's a problem, right?
Yeah.
The people designing that system right now in the world, do you think there's anybody representing the crypto? Is anybody at that table?
No way. I doubt it. They're just gonna do it themselves. Like crypto is their enemy,
There,
you know,
there's your
because they see some
well,
things
there's
they
your
can't stop.
answer. There's your answer.
It's like I don't know if you guys familiar with like World Economic Forum and all that, but they're very transparent with the agenda where they want to go with everything.
I I don't know, Goose. I think the Bitcoin community might be either at the table or very near that table, and they have been very instrumental in those ongoing discussions, especially in third world countries. I know they're very close to the politicians, Gary Gensler with the SEC. They're very active in trying to help steer the regulation of this asset class.
Jack
Yeah,
Muller and Strike with
go ahead, Joe. Sorry.
yeah, Jack Muller with Strike and El Salvador, and he went to the IMF. There's podcast of him talking about his work with the IMF and how his fans said he was a sellout. But yeah, they're working lockstep together, whether or not it'll be for the better or worse.
I mean, the fact of the matter is that some third world countries would likely benefit from having crypto as a recognized currency because their currencies have all failed. So it's likely superior than having the U.S. dollar as their currency, like in El Salvador. So I think that would be a benefit.
Of course, but of course that's the case. Third world countries don't want to use the dollar. The whole world doesn't want to use the dollar. They are forced to use the dollar. That's the whole point of what we're trying to discuss here. But El Salvador has been a massive failure, um, and that won't work. But on a bigger picture, the guys in control of the U.S. dollar who are going to roll out the new CBDC, whether together with the IMF and the Bank of International Settlements, whatever they're doing and designing and how to roll this out, they're not. I guarantee you, they're not going to use our crypto, whether it's Bitcoin or Hex. They're not using anything. They're going to roll out their own, and then they will control it.
Well, the IMF is in fact not blackmailing Bukele, but they're basically very anti-Bitcoin or any other crypto, and literally refusing loans to these countries that don't play ball with them. I think it's disgusting.
Would you say it's fair to say that money is power?
Well, yeah, of course.
Always has been.
Absolutely. It might be the only form of power. This is why it's important that you control your own money. This is why you have money, and when money is organically controlled by people, by a community.
He who has the gold makes the rules. That's what they say.
That's what it used to be, right? That's why I wanted to draw the comparison to early gold rush days and access to gold extraction to nowadays crypto, early investors and blah blah blah, because there are some similarities. They might not be easy to see, but history rhymes. It doesn't repeat.
Yeah, I was just using gold as a word. It could be any money, I guess.
We're definitely at a fork in the road in human history. as to a turning point of the whole basis of what money is, especially if gold is not going to take and provide a some sort of basis. It's going to be very interesting how it plays out.
They say you're gonna earn nothing, but you will be happy.
Well, it's
Well, my walk line for tolerating what goes on here politically in the U.S. is if they tax unrealized capital gains, I will leave.
Good. Viking has his hand up. There's someone else.
Yeah, I'll go to Richard's new country if they do that too.
Yeah, I'm looking into a bunch of different countries how they deal with crypto regulation. It's interesting to see.
I
The
think
problem
Germany. I don't know
is
if it's
that
rumors.
regulation changes so often. So yeah, you can pick a
Yeah.
country today, but in 2 years, it could be very onerous.
It's like back in the old days. You come out of your cave, you gotta look left and right to see if the wolf is there. You don't look, well, then you only have yourself to blame. To the gentleman who was talking about using crypto daily, I don't remember your name, but if you, do you think that this thing that you're using, Bitcoin Cash, I guess, has the potential just to be used by everybody, or is it just a very small niche?
Yeah, I don't know. I think it's cool, but you know, that's just me, I guess.
Let's just to say like this: is there a benefit from your personal point of view? I know that's biased, but to using, I don't know, dollar cash or dollar digital in terms of credit cards from a convenience point of view, and then maybe the security slash government whatever thing as a secondary thought afterthought.
Well,
But
one thing for certain,
it's not convenient.
you know,
It's not convenient because you know there's very few people that use it. I just think it's cool, you know, because you know why would you want to support fiat currency when it's backed by a bunch of fucking arseholes that drop bombs on kids?
Yeah,
That's
I get
my
that.
point of view.
Okay, so the answer is no, because most people don't think like that. So you're doing it from a idealistic point of view, but you know, majority of people are gonna go with convenience, as in it's faster, it's better, secure, or whatever. You know, you can make a list of them. I don't have them all in my head, but there needs to be some benefit over the old thing.
Yeah, I mean that's it. It's like it's hard to go against the propaganda, you know, because you know everyone uses fiat every day. They haven't tried using crypto, you know, and they don't think about the people that are backing the fiat currency because you know
Do you
they don't
think
really
that
know
there
who the
is
fuckers are,
potential for
really, do they?
improvement? Do you think there's potential for improvement to make it easier, more integrated, blah blah blah? Because I think there is. I think we're really like as much as you like to say it, I don't think we're there in crypto to really make something usable as payment as easy as fucking possible. Because the last 3 times I tried, it was a pain. I do not want to be stuck in a making 15 people behind me angry because my payment doesn't work, or I have to wait, or I have to figure it out. Like that kind of shit needs to be as simple as fucking possible before you can even talk about adoption.
Well, it is I mean, the last time I used it, it's just like you scan a QR code and it's like instant. It's like quicker than using chip and pin.
And the QR code provides your public address, or how does that pay? Like it just inserts your private keys, or what? I've never used it, so I don't know. Talk to me like I'm five.
So the cashier has they have the software, so they don't really know what crypto you're using. And so they just give you a QR code and you scan it and it's just instant. It pays instantly.
Right, but what happens in the background? Do you know?
I don't know.
Care?
I guess
Okay.
it
So
it
you provide you must be providing
to
your
fiat or
key
something.
to something. That's the part what I'm trying to understand. Like when you pay with a wallet that is yours and not custodial, then you must be exposing your keys at any given time whenever you pay somehow, or unlocking, or
No,
maybe
you're
at
just
least using some kind of front end like MetaMask to input your password or something.
no, you just send from your wallet. It's just a send.
Is your wallet, or is custodial as in somebody else has it for you?
No, it's your wallet.
Maybe just send me a link so I can understand. Because like, in order to unlock your wallet, you either need to enter your password in MetaMask or enter your seed phrase or private keys. So maybe there's some kind of application in between that you're not understanding, but there is something, right?
You don't enter your seed phrase when you send someone coin on MetaMask, do you?
You do enter your password.
Yeah, but you don't enter your seed phrase.
Right. So you just said you show a QR code, but you don't enter anything. So that thing is exposing something, either your password or your seed phrase. Or it's not your own wallet.
So the cashier shows a QR code and you scan it.
I understand that.
So I guess
How do you
they're
unlock
showing
the
their
ability to
public
pay?
address.
How do you approve a payment?
So when you go in MetaMask and you want to insert an address, you can use your camera
No,
to
Adrian,
use a QR code.
you're jumping into a conversation that is not related to MetaMask. We're talking about some payment provider that allows you to use crypto to crypto, whatever, like crypto as a payment. I'm trying to
To
understand how does the
MetaMask.
user, the end
You are
customer,
using the MetaMask to do this. You are using MetaMask to do the payment. You are scanning with the MetaMask camera. You are scanning the QR code.
he's talking about Bitcoin Cash.
Yeah, I think it's the same thing with
Two different
MetaMask
things.
as well. I think MetaMask does the same thing. You can scan someone's QR code, can't you, and just send?
Yes,
or no?
exactly, and that will show you the address to send to. But the approval has to come from you. So either it's pre-approved, which I guess for small transactions is fine, but that still means you.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
fine.
I mean,
guess it's just a
it is
pre-approved.
pre-approved. Yeah, it could be, but I think, or you can set it to enter your password to approve it. I think, or if it's under, yeah, I think I have mine set to under $10 to just pre-approve something like that.
I see. So if it's something over, then you do need to approve the transaction, obviously.
Yeah, but it's just like a click of a button, I think, to approve it.
All right. Fair enough.
I know Ledger's coming out with a debit card that you can connect to your account.
So we need the signature somehow, right? You have to somehow give it your signature.
Yeah, that's my point. If it's your own wallet and you own it as DeFi and it's not custodial, you need to approve it. And it's fine. You can do a pre-approval application at your own risk, blah, blah, blah. Depends, of course. But yeah, it works. No, that's great. I'll check that out. I mean, I'm not close-minded. I'm not a big fan of anything with Bitcoin in the title, but I guess it's okay. Payments.
I guess this is usable with a software wallet where you will keep a small amount of crypto, because you cannot go with a hardware wallet in the freaking store to pay for grocery.
Ledger,
exactly.
you can get on a waiting list right now. Ledger is going to be coming out with a debit card that you can link to your hardware wallet. It's going to be able to pay for stuff at the store.
Yeah, but I guess there will be something like with the Binance card or like WireX or Simplex, other
Must be a
companies.
centralized component in the middle. I guess there's still a gateway in between the payment method that you were talking about and your wallet, right? From what I understood. Because I'm looking at their site and it says payment gateways, AnyPay, BitPay, Coinbase, Blockonomics, whatever all these guys are called, which are all, you know, sort of middleman centralized exchanges, etc. I'm just thinking, is there even a way around them?
I use the Bitcoin.com mobile app. I don't know what you're looking at. So
Yeah, that's what I'm looking at. But those are backend services, so they're using B2B services like BitPay, etc., to facilitate transactions between you and the business.
Maybe, yeah, could be, yeah. I think that's the cashier software is using something like that. But you just send from your normal wallet. Because the cashier probably doesn't want to hold crypto. They probably want fiat.
Yep. So it's not. That's the second level problem, that if the business would accept crypto and you have crypto, and then it would be a crypto to crypto, medium of exchange. But actually, majority of the time, probably all of the time, it's you paying with crypto and the business exchanging to fiat immediately, or after a month or whatever, pay some bills, etc.
Yeah, but I mean, at
That's why
least they have the choice. They could put like 10% in crypto if they were into that kind of thing, you know?
I am with you on that if there is adoption, which I'm still challenging, then it will take a long time. I do agree that it could take easily another 25 years or more until the bags of the businesses get large enough that it makes sense for them to just fully switch or accept both equally, whatever. But I
Yeah,
don't really see the adoption rate go up. I rather see it going down.
yeah, it depends how bad inflation gets, doesn't it? I mean, if
Well,
these
I hope
governments keep printing like crazy, I mean, they might take a look at crypto and say, "Hey, fuck, maybe this is a better idea."
Yep, decentralized fixed inflation sounds pretty good to me. But it's also an experiment. We'll see. All right, gotta head out. Thanks for the combo. It was nice.
Cheers.
Never sell your microphone's too sensitive. We can hear you talking every once in a while.
Spiffy, how have you been? I haven't heard from you in a while.
Doing pretty good. I took a long time off. Um, I probably stepped away from the chat for a good several months. Mostly because I got into some gaming. I was playing a video game called Lost Ark, and that was taking up about 12 hours of my day. But I kind of got away from that for the most part. I probably only spend about 5 minutes a day on it at this point because it kind of lost interest in. I lost interest in it. But yeah, I mean, so I'm back a little bit more than I used to be.
Nice to hear you again.
You picked a hell of a time to come back, Spiffy. I'll tell you that much.
What do y'all think about the change in how the mood changes that some of the hexagons are going through right now?
I think those folks need to go down to the Pulse OG boot camp and get reprogrammed.
Pulse OG needs some help right now, Pepe.
I think mood will change very shortly when Pulse launches.
I think that's the problem.
Just 2 more weeks.
I think that's actually what started it.
Pepe, you need to make a couple of phone calls to your friends there that have been saying they're going to buy a 10 million and $100 million worth. Could sure use their buys now.
And that's the other problem. False propaganda.
But it does give us a great chance to get in some more if we want to.
Yeah, I just think it's hard to visualize the mad gains that everybody talks about without it being some mad pain.
I think you have to, if Hex goes to zero, okay. But other than that, you gotta be a buyer now with Hex so low.
I'm not a market buyer, I'll tell you that much. You'll be down 20% before you know it. Be a limit buyer.
Yeah, that's good. That's smart.
Well, there was a very sophisticated TA in here last week, and she's a little definitely different than John S. And she's definitely calling, according to her technical analysis, 6 cents.
Well, we're not at the bottom. That's all we know. So, and we don't even know that, but conjecture is could go a lot lower before it goes higher, but it will go higher.
So, Pepe, do you think the longer it takes for Pulse to launch, the lower Hex will go? Is that directly correlated?
I think that until the third sacrifice is over, you're not going to see normal price action with HEX. And I really mean that. I think between now and that time, you need to place very precise limit orders, get in at a level you think, is close to the bottom, and just don't be exit liquidity fodder for the OGs that the second this thing goes up a penny, 2 cents, 3 cents, they're dumping on us. So, I'm sure I'm going to be yelled at for speaking my mind, but how many times do you have to see it to believe it?
Yeah, good point.
We will not holler at you, Pepe.
Well, in a bear, when the asset's going down violently, you got to place limit orders. If you're buying at market, I don't know. It's not that I don't want to, it's that I don't want to buy it here.